Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, and today we're getting into some Ultra League Premier Cup Go Battle League battles. Now, before we even get into it, before we address it, let me address where I'm at. My cousins or family members went away on vacation. They wanted me to watch their dogs while they were gone, so I'm currently there in a part of their house where it looks like this. And there's a bit of an echo in the room I'm in, and you can kind of hear the outdoors, you can kind of hear some cicadas, and there might be some dogs barking because I'm watching the dogs, so I just want to give you guys all a heads up on that. I would love to put the dogs on camera, but they're fairly large dogs, and they don't cooperate too well with me, so there's not a good chance of me doing that. But other than that, I'm also getting used to like the surround sounds volume in here. Like my voice sounds really weird right now as I'm talking, but now I'm just really getting sidetracked. I got my first set of Ultra League Premier Cup battles for you guys. Boy, was it a set. Me and Great League weren't getting along throughout this entire season. Honestly, this is probably like the toughest season that I've had so far. And I don't know if it's a combination of trying to give you guys spice and then not really finding a really good go-to team that's bringing me consistent wins, and then I'm streaming all my battles and just I'm just making a bunch of different excuses. All I know is I've been struggling this season. I'm looking forward to Ultra League Premier to turn things around, and this wasn't exactly the turnaround I was hoping for, but it is my first set of Ultra League Premier that I want to share with you guys, and it's with the team that I had success with last season. It consists of an Ampharos lead, Lapras, and a Alola Muck save swap. So if you're excited to watch these battles and jump into some Ultra League Premier action, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's check out this set of battles. Also, I'm trying to figure out where the best spot is for me to stand, so if any of these are zoomed in weird, I do apologize. Alright, getting to the first battle of the set, we got Ampharos on Charizard lead. This is all I could ask for, is a positive lead for me. My opponent save swaps into a Tangrowth, which has been rising in the ranks on PvP Poke for Ultra League Premier Cup battles, and it's one of the top save swaps, so my opponent pulled that off there, so I counter with my Alola Muck, and I feel like the bait was just super obvious, so I throw the Sludge Wave right away, one-shot their Tangrowth, and I'm waiting to see what they decide, and they decided to quit. And that's my first match of Ultra League Premier. You would think, yo, I'm hyped, let's go, I'm killing it in Ultra League Premier. Well, let's watch these next 4 battles. At least that first one was positive. Alright, getting into the second match of the set, we're going up against the Rogue Orange, and we're just hoping to catch more positive leads like we did in the last match. We got Ampharos on Ampharos matchup, and this is something I saw a lot last season, and the way to win this is to land the bait, land the Focus Blast bait. In this situation specifically, I feel like it might be better to have Dragon Pulse just because it'd be cheaper and you'd be able to get away with maybe getting off 2 of them and not having to rely too much on the bait. My opponent ends up baiting me, and I end up shielding, and if you follow me on Twitch, that is what we call baited Bill, because I get baited very often, especially during Twitch streams, and I go for the Focus Blast, and they unfortunately shield it. So right now, I'm not in a positive situation as much as, you know, it looks like one shield apiece, but they're way ahead on energy. I'm expecting this to be a Focus Blast. I really don't want to commit 2 shields in this situation, but it ends up being a Thunder Punch. I'm like, oh, that's not that bad. I'm going to actually just go for Focus Blast of my own, and if they want to use both their shields, I'm going to save swap into my Alolan Muck. So I guess they thought I'd go for the 2 shield situation here. They do have some excess energy, which is why a Thunder Punch is coming at me so quickly here, and I have no intentions of shielding anything because it's going to be dealing neutral damage from the Ampharos. I do expect another Thunder Punch to be coming through very quickly because of the fact that they should have had about Focus Blast energy, which is like 5 volt switches, and like 2 Thunder Punches is like 5 volt switches, so I was not surprised when that happened. And then they countered me with an Alolan Muck. This team's looking familiar. It's kind of looking like mine. I wonder what their third Pokemon is. They're unfortunately playing what looks like my team better than I'm currently playing my team. I got off that Sludge Wave. I'm expecting them to throw Dark Pulse quickly, so I get off at Dark Pulse, hoping it's a CMP tie, so if they'll take me out after I throw this. Ends up being a CMP tie, and I have no intentions of shielding it because I already know I'm losing this mirror match because of the fact that I'm down in health even though I have a shield. So they got that off. I think, yeah, I go back into Ampharos, and I didn't realize that they had so much extra energy that they actually outpaced me to my next charge move, and I want to rely on Lapras with the shields here to pull off this match. I know their Ampharos is low, their Alolan Muck is low, so I'm hoping maybe I could pull off some sort of farming, and whatever their last Mon is just doesn't want to see a Skull Bash or a Surf. So they're going for a charge move here. I have no intention of shielding it. Sludge Wave would be better DPE. They end up throwing the Dark Pulse here, probably because they thought I would throw. And then they go into their Ampharos, and I was hoping I could farm up more energy Turns out their Ampharos still had more energy from earlier in the match, which I'm not too surprised about. Like I said, it farmed up a bunch. I was also worried that a Surf wouldn't take out from this range, and I really should go revisit and recheck the amount of damage it does. Surf probably would have gotten it to at least in farm range. I probably didn't need the whole Skull Bash, but I also threw it for a potential defense buff to help me in the final matchup against their Pokemon, but it really didn't matter. I could have thrown the Surf there. I would have had another Surf. I would have had to try to get to a Skull Bash. The Gallade would have gotten to a Leaf Blade before that, and they would have taken me out and won this match. Regardless, they definitely outplayed the whole lead situation there in the bait game, and then on top of it, my final mon of Lapras didn't have a positive matchup against their final mon of Gallade. Alright, getting into this third match of the set, we're actually going up against a fellow Twitch streamer by the name of Gerard Melise. I really hope I'm not butchering the pronunciation. He told me I was pronouncing it correctly when he rated my stream earlier. If you check me out on Twitch, I highly recommend you checking him out on Twitch too. And right now, we're not in a positive matchup. As much as I could spam these Thunder Punches against Heracross, 2 close combats can get a shield and take me out, whereas these Thunder Punches are not really threatening the shields of this Heracross. But I am finally getting it lower, and at least the second one will be able to threaten the shield. My only real concern is I guess I could have played this out in the 2 shield. I just didn't want to play out a 2 shield lead, but maybe looking back in hindsight, that would have been the better way to play this. So instead, I decided not to shield at all because I know he's at 2 close combats, so I just let the first one go through to take me out. I bring in my Lapras here. I know another close combat's about to come through, so I have every intention of shielding this and then hoping I can farm it down with my Lapras, and at least I kept the shield here by letting Ampharos go down. But we're in equal shielding situations. My Ampharos could have had a bunch of energy. It really all depends on whatever his back line is, if I would have preferred to have Ampharos alive or Lapras alive. And when you bring in Napoleon, I should have kept my Ampharos alive. So very unfortunate play on my part. I'm going to throw a Surf here, and I have a bunch of energy. I'm hoping maybe he'll think it's a Skull Bash. Both are going to be resisted, so I didn't think he was going to shield it anyway. And then he counters my Alolan Muck coming in with a Charizard. And this isn't exactly the worst situation, especially because I have a little bit of energy advantage. But the problem is the Lapras on Empoleon matchup is not a positive situation for me. So the lead was equal. Our second mons were not. Our third mons are pretty equal here. Even if this is a blast, this is a blast where I'm hoping to call it and I end up calling it correctly. And because I call it and I don't get baited in this situation, that gives me a little bit of a chance here because I want to keep Muck alive to try and get some Dark Pulses off on the Empoleon. So I get another Dark Pulse through, take out the Charizard. You'll notice I over-farmed. So what I'm just really hoping here is I can get to another Dark Pulse and land it. And unfortunately, we see in Pizza here, there should be a Hydro Cannon, but what you're going to find out is that my Alolan Muck just barely survived. So it makes me feel like I have a chance in this match. And I'm hoping that this Dark Pulse will get the Empoleon's last shield, which it should. It does, because everything else that my Lapras is going to throw is going to be resisted. And then I kind of like debate to myself, I'm like, do I want to throw a Skull Bash here? I really wasn't sure what the better option was, mostly because at least Surf gets stabbed, whereas Skull Bash wouldn't, but then Skull Bash would raise my defense. So, but both are single resisted, so I don't know. I probably, honestly, the way the rest of this match ends up looking, maybe if the Skull Bash did about the same amount of damage as those 2 Surfs did, then maybe the Skull Bash raising my defense would have flipped this match, because they're going to get a Hydro Cannon in here. If I had a higher defense, it would have done less than that, and then I just fall short of the Surf there. Honestly, I probably should have gone for the Skull Bash just for the sake of that it would have raised my defense, and I would have probably been able to survive the second charge move, Surf the Empoleon, and potentially taken that match. It would have been a better play than what I made there. So, after having a really good first match, last 2 not so hot. Will I be able to bounce back and potentially salvage the set, maybe get 3-2, potentially get 2-3? Well, we're not off to a great start in the 4th match of the set. Ampharos on Venusaur is not a great lead, and honestly, 2/3 of my team don't like this Venusaur. I actually safe swap into Lapras here, which wasn't what I was aiming for. I was hoping to safe swap into Alolan Muck, and I forgot which Pokemon was on which side of the switch tray, and I ended up clicking Lapras. But this ends up not being as terrible as I thought it was once I brought it in. So I can tank a Frenzy Plant here. These Ice Shards are adding up against the Venusaur. My opponent is going to be able to Vine Whip me down and farm me down, but this Surf is going to threaten a shield in order for them to want to do that. So I get the Surf through, they end up shielding there, and then they farm me down like I expected them to, but at least I have shield advantage, and now I can wait out the switch timer, I can bring in a Alolan Muck, and I can eat all this extra energy they have. So it wasn't as bad as it looked at first, but again, you don't want to bring Lapras into that situation. So they're getting off a charge move here. It's going to be a Frenzy Plant because both moves will be resisted. Frenzy Plant does better damage when it's, I don't know, the same type effectiveness as Sludge Bomb. when both are dealing singular resisted damage, you want to go for Frenzy Plant. I'm trying to think of the best way to word it. Either way, I ate 2 Frenzy Plants there. I snarled down the Venusaur, and they come into a Lapras, which is unfortunate because I couldn't line my Ampharos up with it. So now I end up throwing a Dark Pulse here. You want to go for Sludge Wave in this situation, but I knew I was only going to get to like 1 of each, so I ended up getting to the Sludge Wave anyway. I didn't expect to get off 2 Sludge Waves. I could have thrown the first one as a Sludge Wave and then tried to get off another one, but either way I do that. I bring in Ampharos. They got to this Charge Move pretty quickly, so I'm expecting it to be a Surf, knowing I can eat this, and I just have to worry about whatever their last Pokemon is in the back. I have 2 shields, and they have a Clefable. So I saved these shields for maybe next season of Ultra League because they're not gonna do me any good in this match. Maybe I can use them in next match. Niantic, can we discuss that? Or if I forget to use my shields, or I make stupid mistakes like this one right here, I can just take those shields, use them in the next one. I don't think my next opponent will mind too much. But yeah, this one is gonna play out exactly how you expected. I'm just gonna get charmed down. I'm gonna lose here with 2 shields. If I would have shielded the Surf, I would have had a better chance here because I would have gotten off more Volt Switches and another Thunder Punch, which could have taken out the Clefable. But then again, I might have still got Ice Sharded down by the Lapras. But either way, GG. Getting into the 5th and final match of my first Ultra League Premier set. Going up against, I think he's also a fellow Twitch streamer. I think he's been streaming. Follow him on Twitter. I know him pretty well. His name is Raptor. I know he definitely has streamed at some point. I don't know how consistently he is. I highly recommend you checking him out if he is. And in this match, I end up going up against another Venusaur lead. And this time, I correctly save swapped to my Alola. And who knows, maybe I should have went to Lapras again. We get a little bit of lag there. I end up throwing this Charge Move, and I end up farming up a bunch of extra energy because of that lag. It made like 2 or 3 snarls go through. He ends up eating a Dark Pulse. He left with like 2 Frenzy Plants worth of energy, and that lag might have honestly made him stay in a little bit longer than he would have preferred, so that wasn't exactly ideal for either of us. I was at another Dark Pulse, landed it on the Gallade, and I do have to watch out for potential close combat, but I am able to get off another Dark Pulse here, which means I can make him make the first decision in using a shield. He decides to use a shield here, so I'm just like, alright, let's see what he's going to decide to do Charge Move wise. I think because he shielded, I decided to match a shield. No, I expected it to be a Leaf Blade. I expected him to bait, which is why I didn't shield that. I knew I wouldn't survive a close combat, but at the time when I was playing the match, the bait just seemed pretty obvious to me, which is why I called it. And then I ended up shielding the next Leaf Blade and matching him on the shields because I want to get off this Dark Pulse. The next Leaf Blade wouldn't have taken me out. I would have been low, but I was also kind of hoping to flip switch advantage. I do also get another one of his shields, so I go back into Ampharos. I'm going to end up bringing it in to eat this Charge Move. I think it's also a Leaf Blade. Yeah, it ends up being another Leaf Blade. He couldn't get enough energy. Tons of Leaf Blades here. He did not get enough energy to get off of close combat in any of those situations. Well, he did have the energy in the previous ones, but he baited. In that specific situation, he did not. And because of the fact that I know Ampharos is not going to do me any justice against Venusaur, I let it just eat that Frenzy Plant just to kind of take away some of Venusaur's energy. I decided to shield this because I know that I can't get Vine Whip down, and I also know that if I get to this Dark Pulse, depending on whatever his last Pokemon is, this will help my Lapras in the back. If I let my Muck go down, then I end up wasting potential energy, and then I have to bring in Lapras to Ice Shard down the Venusaur, and I might have to end up using that shield anyway. Unfortunately, their last Pokemon is also a Clefable, and I bring it in for this Lapras on Clefable matchup in the Zero Shield. I don't know how it plays out, but I do know that I definitely want to go for a Skull Bash here, and I was really hoping I could get it off before they got their Charge Move because I wanted to raise my defense before this Psychic came through, and that ends up being like determining the game at this point. The Skull Bash is going to hurt. It's not going to take out the Clefable, but if I would have been able to get off the Skull Bash first, I would have more health after that Psychic. I would be able to Ice Shard down the Clefable and potentially surf this Gallade, or I could have Ice Sharded down this Gallade if I had higher defense and then surf the Clefable, but unfortunately it didn't work out. And my first set of Ultra League Premier is 1-4. It's back to the drawing board to try and figure out a consistent go-to meta team that I can use to have success. So, unfortunately, my first set of Ultra League Premier did not go how I would have liked it, but I'm happy to share these losses with you guys because they happen. And for me, they've been happening a lot more often recently than I prefer. But as I like to say on my Twitch streams, we move, which means there's always tomorrow. Back to the drawing board, figure out another team. You can always have successful sets later on. Cannot let your current negative situation defeat you because of the fact that you can always have a positive day tomorrow. And GBL, getting to rank 10, is not a sprint, it's a marathon. I kept on saying like it's a journey. I had somebody, I keep on messing up that quote, but the point is it's a long race. I'll probably get beaten to rank 10 just based on the fact that some people have been hitting rank 9, and I still haven't hit it. I'm probably around 10 wins away, but at this point, I just want to figure out something I can have consistent success with, but also still want to bring you spice. So hopefully, I'm able to figure out that balance sooner rather than later. Either way, there's always future sets to try and improve and make better. So on that note, let me know what you guys thought of this current team. Let me know what you thought I could improve. Let me know what you thought of the sets. You guys know the whole 9 yards. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.